So what's up, guys? Mike Frank with Berkshire Hathaway, Frank Oliver and Company, coming to you live from my house. Office renovations are still in the mix, and they're hitting some of the center parts of our office, so we needed to relocate for the week. We're here in my home office. There's a chance that Nala will make a cameo at some point in time, but she's sitting on the couch at the current moment. So wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how to identify a realtor that you trust. Something that I talk about a lot, and you guys may hear it, you may understand it, but I'm going to talk a little bit deeper into some of the things that, the factors, how well you know somebody, and choosing the right agent for you. Before we do, I posted yesterday onto Facebook, and I don't do enough of this, but I'm super proud of our team, all the people that are working really hard. We have a number of young agents that are working to start their business and grow themselves as individuals as well as professionals. And then there's so many people that are out there. I mean, Eric got 2 new deals last week. We closed 5 last week. Allison put a deal under contract, and we had 2 listings go on the market. So it's kind of crazy, and we're really excited about all the things that we do, but I just don't do enough of appreciation. So thank you guys so much for all of your support, and obviously thank you to our whole team for their hard work. And that kind of leads a little bit into what we're going to talk about today, which is identifying the right realtor that you can trust, right? So the first thing would be probably choosing the person, not the experience. Now, there's a byproduct to that, right? Using a brand new agent as opposed to an agent that sells 20 or 30 or 40 homes a year, maybe there could be an argument, but let's just hypothesize that we're going to choose the person. We're looking into what they're identifying with and how well you connect with them, right? The way that they interact with you is really going to answer your questions throughout the process. And the right person will more than likely ask and answer questions in the right way rather than feel that you're being rushed through the process, or bruxed is the word that I like to use, right? Nobody likes to feel like they're being pushed or forced to do something. They want to feel comfortable with the agent that they choose to represent. And maybe to that note is that we should be seeking referrals, not only from their past clients or their past experiences, but also perhaps from other people that you know that may have a working relationship with that person. And so identifying some past clients or some past opportunities through an online resource might be great, but seek those referrals that you could talk to on the phone. Seek those referrals that you can meet up with and talk about their experience and what it was like to work with that person. Because ultimately, finding someone that you trust is going to be more important, but identifying somebody that you can communicate with is going to be almost equally as valuable, because in the end of the day, that's really what's going to drive your success, right? Having a realtor that has your best interest at heart is probably the next important thing. I think it's going to be hard for you to find someone that you connect with, find someone that you can really trust and confide in that doesn't have their best interest at heart, but ultimately you want to make sure that that person isn't out there to make a buck. We call it commission breath. Somebody that walks into a house and goes, I'm ready to sell you a house, right? Why not walk through the home with somebody that's paying attention to your wants and needs and asking how this home feels by comparison to the last home that they toured with you? Perhaps pointing out identifying factors that you didn't notice. For example, well, what if this house has a 1-car garage, but the last house had an oversized 1-car garage? Perhaps you didn't notice that, and they're going to point out those nuances that's really going to benefit you. Because somebody that's going to have your best interest at heart is going to speak level-headed and equal about every opportunity, not just focused on this house because we're here and we need the sale. Right? Looking at 3 houses looks great on TV, but looking at 3 houses doesn't really work for today's real estate market. Understanding that those 3 houses are all very, very different, and which one fits your need and your family's need is really with somebody that has your best interest at heart. That's what they're going to do, right? They're going to communicate in an effective way, and they're ultimately going to provide you that comfort level that you really came into this transaction desiring, which maybe that could be something that you could consider about the whole organization that they choose to work with. So if you are working with somebody, you want to make sure that they have adequate support and communication. Ultimately, again, it comes back to that comfort level. But if they have adequate support and that communication level that they exhibit goes transcendent through their whole organization, you're going to feel a lot better about the decision to hire them to represent you and your family in the process. For example, on our team, we have an admin that will support each agent. And so Allison might put a deal under contract, and she's going to have John to work the transaction for her and with her. Together with her clients, they're going to see that process to fruition. So the communication is going to be right there where you started, which is with confidence, right? You're going to feel like their communication is going to provide you a supportive experience, and they're going to be smooth and fluent throughout the entire transaction without feeling like you're being handed off from person to person to person. Ultimately, we want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable and confident in your decision to hire us as your realtors. And one of the ways that we do that as a team is by making sure that we're mitigating risk. And risk is a big factor that we don't talk a whole lot about, especially if you ask an agent, well, what are you going to do to protect me? They don't usually have a great example or an answer. One of the things that we're going to do to protect our clients is simple things. Like, we're going to make sure that we double check and triple check our wiring instructions every time we send them to you to make sure that your money's not going to the wrong account or being wired in a malicious or a false way. We want to make sure that we mitigate those risks that might not always be thought of when you're considering buying your biggest investment. So as you're considering hiring a real estate agent, it's not just about who you know. It's not just about what they know. It might be about the relationship that you can build with that person, the opportunity that they've had to work with your friends and your family, the good experiences and the bad, and how they're going to mitigate the risk for you throughout the course of the transaction. The service that we can provide is only about half of the challenge. We really do have to make sure that we have the knowledge and the support to engage with our community and provide that biggest value. As you guys are thinking about it, getting online is a great way to find a realtor. We do a lot of online advertising. It's a way that we've connected with most of you. Online advertising is fantastic in today's market, but you just don't know if you're going to get assigned to Agent Tom or Agent Mike. You don't know if Agent Tom has been in the business for 13 years, but he's only sold 7 houses in the last 12 months, or if Agent Mike has been in the business for 12 months and he sold 7 houses in the last 12 months. Which one would you prefer to work with? And ultimately, asking certain questions is going to create the opportunity for you to feel comfortable and confident in the team that you choose to represent you. Online advertising is a great way to build business. It's a great way to feel like you can connect with somebody without really going through the motions of sitting in the doctor's office, filling out the forms, having your first physical. It's very awkward to meet somebody for the very first time. But ultimately, you want to dig in and figure out if that online agent that you connected with is the right one. You're not obligated to work with that same person throughout the course of the transaction. So ask them about their experience. Ask them about how they intend to communicate, their hours of operation, and what days of the week do they work. What does their team look like? What does their structure look like? Their communication, their experience, and their knowledge. Ultimately, that's going to build the trust that you have, that they're going to support you. They're going to mitigate the risk that you may see in the process of building your biggest investment ever. Hopefully we brought you guys a lot of information, and anytime you want to connect with us, DM, PM, or subscribe to the link below if you haven't already, and we look forward to talking to you real soon. Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for weekly content. Also, check out our social media pages. The links are in the description below. See you next week.